Hello YouTube Vintage Stereo Restores. Though I'm not sure how to class this one, this 1980s stuff. Some say it's vintage, some say it'll never be vintage. I don't know what to say on that. Some of it's actually well built. And albeit the plastic faceplate, so-so on that. But anyway, once in a while you get a break when you're doing this kind of work. And I had a garbled left channel on this one, and I'll show you here. Which cap? It might be hard to see. This cap was starting to puff and it leaked a bit. Must have been under stress. So we have the rectifier bridge, and then over here there's actually a couple different power supplies in this. Okay, so there's the one that gives you the main B plus for the outputs for the power stage, and it has two 6800 microfarads. They're right there, and they're your rails, your minus 37 and your plus 37. Then there's a sub power supply, and this is interesting because they don't all do this. You've actually got a transistor acting as regulator for two different rails that run the preamp, and that's actually in what was a lower cost unit. That's kind of rare. So basically it allows one channel to draw on one side and the other channel to draw on the other side, and there's two 470 microfarad caps, and that's what I was just showing you, the 470 feeding that's in the left side. And so I put my meter on the cap when I took it out. It's almost a dead short. It's about 400 ohms. So that's obviously short out. And I put two replacements here, two 50 volt caps, because it runs pretty close to 25 volts. So I put some 50 volt replacement caps, one on each side. And what's interesting about these, they're the only TEAPO, T-E-A-P-O. This is, hear the beeping? This is all day long around here. Deliveries from different companies. You know, whether it's oxygen for one neighbor, salt for another, perlator. Anyway, put those two in. Plugged it in, turned it on. I've got a clear sound from both channels. So it's been running about half an hour. So the two main caps still cold, heatsink barely warm. So I look at, there's a page here, and this came from Hi-Fi Engine, where I find a lot, great resource. Whoever runs that, you people are awesome. Power amplifier bias adjustment, it's the only adjustment. So it names the test points, test point 1, test point 3, and to read 4 millivolt after 5 minutes of warm up. Well, it's been warming up a little longer. So I'm going to check that. Put the meter right here. Okay, it's been running. Let's go over here. So these are just across an emitter resistor. So 2.5, 2.6 roughly millivolts. The threshold is 4. I'm not touching that one. I am not turning the pot because I don't want to have to replace it. The person who owns this amp does not want to spend money on it. 3.2. That is actually inconsequential. That one's at 2.6 and one's at 3.2. So nothing to do here, really. Another thing you can actually check is on the speaker outputs to see just how much, if there's much leakage. So again, about 84 millivolts, that's on the left. So I was on the right, this is on the left. They're balanced. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to hook it up and run it for a while and see what it does, take some measurements. If it's stable, I'm going to let it be, because don't want to put a lot of money into this one. And this one was purchased at a very reasonable price, And this is the one place you can still get deals in vintage stereo, is this era. If you want just a listening unit, something like a Rotel, there's some really great Onkos from that time too. And you don't need the big power units. I had an Onkyo with a toroid in it. Oh, Denon from this era is excellent too. They all have a pretty good sound, and you can pick them up for almost nothing. This one sat on Facebook Marketplace like for weeks at $50 and nobody wanted it. And the guy said, issue with left channel. Well, really, maybe you should have just given it away, but I understand. He was the original owner. He felt a bit of attachment. He really wanted it fixed. He actually took it. This is just another story here. He took it to a local stereo shop. There's one local stereo shop that still does repairs, like out the door, and brought it in, and he had it turned away at the counter. And they're a Rotel dealer. Too old to get parts for. Now there's nothing in here that you can't get. I'm not kidding. It's very standard radial caps. Output transistors, I can go to one of the surplus stores like Sayel and get a set of them. And they're very common. There's NTE, ECE, ECG matches. Even the little op amps that are in the outputs, or sorry, the preamp. An NE5532. It's an 8-pin IC. You can see it on the schematic. Phono stage. So one's the phono stage, left-right channel. The other is in the tone control area. And so it looks like those have been replaced. Anyway, that's inconsequential because they work, but actually those are very easy to find. I think I've actually got them here. So this is fixable. They just didn't want to touch it, so he sold it. Thanks for watching and listening.